Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode 8 of the Hungry People podcast. My name is Michael Patrick Buckley, your boy, and I'm here with my co-host AJ Dybka. I know it's been about a couple weeks since we've done an episode. We're really excited for this episode.
Everyone's excited to see us back together.
AJ, let us hear what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, so a few weeks back, maybe even a month or so, Michael Patrick and I watched a video called The Raw Food Debate. And it's with a bunch of pioneers back in the day, Doug Graham, Brian Clement, David Wolf, and they're all in a discussion together, sharing their different ideologies and perspectives on raw living foods. I thought it was a great video. MP thought it was a good video, a great video. And we went ahead and rewatched it. And now we're going to go over their answers to the questions and share a little bit of what we think as well.
Yeah, it's always great going back and watching the pioneers, the leaders of this movement, and just seeing what they have to say and doing the best that you can to relate that to your own life. And it's just it's so intriguing to hear the answers. And I think even on the debate, I think the leader, the guy who runs the debate, is it Zach Levine or something like that?
I think so. Yeah.
He even says that like on most of these topics, we all agree, but you'll like if you do watch the video and even with our discussion here, you'll see that they do disagree a lot, which is really which is really cool.
Actually, I love how Doug Lisle says it, because in the whole food plant-based world, it's the same thing. And Doug Lisle's like, it might seem like when we all get up here, we disagree because we're distinguishing minor things.
Right.
But he's like, if you put all of us together versus the paleo people, it's like we agree 99% or whatever. So it's the same here. It's like the concepts are similar, that they agree. It's more about the ratios and certain implementations that it's just in good fun, but it's good for the consumer and the student to be able to listen to this and really be clear in understanding where people are coming from, because there's so much confusion. How much do I eat? What are the ratios? Do I listen to my gut, or do I go a little farther and eat a little more because it's raw and I have to fit more in? They clear up a lot of this stuff, and that's what I really like.
Yeah, definitely having the clear mind of knowing what to do is very important. And just going off that, it's so cool because there really are so many little topics that you can touch on. It's just like, it's kind of mind-blowing in my opinion. But yeah, anyways, let's get started here. The first question that was brought to attention was basically just like the core principles of each of the three gentlemen. And let's start with Brian Clement. He talked about,
so they're like their core principles that they like to focus on, or they highlight the most, right? Okay.
Yeah. And Brian Clement, I think he was actually the third one to speak on this, but I think what he said was phenomenal. His three elements that he says that we all require are oxygen, enzymes, and hormones. And he related the oxygen to breathing and just getting that oxygen into your body. And he's like, I mean, go without breath for 6 minutes and you're probably gonna die, you know. And then enzymes. I know AJ is all about the enzymes.
Show me the enzymes.
I mean, I can even say for myself, enzymes have definitely helped me, and I mean, I believe wholeheartedly on the enzymes, and then hormones as well. I don't know too much. I mean, I don't know too much about the hormones. Definitely learning a little bit more about them, but I mean, I can definitely agree with Clement on those three. But I also agree with like what Graham and Wolf had to say too.
Yeah. So if I were to expand on those three, I would say the oxygen thing. There's a few ways to look at it. It's like, okay, increasing fitness, you're going to naturally pump more oxygen, blood flow everywhere, right? But then you can also look at eliminating things like these cooked, high heated oils that really sludge the blood up, lower oxygen utilization in the blood. So there's like a few different departments. You can also use things like liquid oxygen from Supercells to give yourself a little bit of that boost, or do things like the Wim Hof method, which is really flooding your tissues, organs, glands, joints with oxygen, so that you don't have these like easily prone injuries, or you don't have these stagnations building up in your system. So that's what I would say about the oxygen. I completely agree. I think it's very, very important. I would say the second one that he said was the The enzymes, I'm all for enzymes. I have enzymes like right over there. But from what I know, every single function in the body utilizes an enzyme. Everything from blinking your eye, growing your hair, fingernails, all these things. And the more burdened our enzyme depletion is, the more issues we're going to have over time. So I'm all for enzymes. I agree with that as well. And then the third one was the hormones. I think hormones is it's the next microbiome. Like people need to talk about it like people talk about the microbiome.
Right.
It's so underappreciated. I mean, we could just take sleep for the example. You know, you don't get good sleep, your hormones are off. If your hormones are off, and what I mean by that is you could have higher cortisol, you could have lower testosterone. All these things play such a factor in everything. It's all symbiotic. It all works together. But the really important thing for those to be in a balance, all of those, you know, you don't need an oversaturation. You need the right amount.
Right. Yeah, totally.
So Brian, I agree pretty much with all that.
Yeah. There definitely isn't as much talk about hormones as I expected, or even enzymes. I feel like enzymes are like,
right.
They're
on the up and up. The enzymes, I'm hearing more and more people talk about. So.
I mean, I feel like people are more worried about like juicing and carbs, fats, and protein and stuff like that. But there's just those bottom line factors might be more important than those top line factors. So, definitely lots to learn there, though. That's for sure. So David Wolf, his main core principle was based around minerals and just getting the mineral flow into your body. And what he said to do was like the best way to really figure out how you want, or what's the best way for you to eat is to take like 33% protein, 33% fat, 33% carbohydrate, and split it up in those ratios, and just kind of over time work it to see which one, like what you feel better on. And just because he talks about like being a fast sugar oxidizer, or maybe you're a slow sugar oxidizer. And I know
he said he would die in 2 weeks if he could only live on mangoes.
Yeah.
I relate.
Yeah. I'm like, give me the mangoes. But hey, that's David Wolf. And if he feels that he needs more avocado than mango, and if AJ feels that way too, then hey, you gotta do you, that's for sure. But I'm just so intrigued by this idea of sugar oxidation. And he says that like, if you are somebody who eats fruit and you're super hungry like an hour later, then you probably oxidize your sugars a lot quicker and a lot faster. I guess I could say, you could argue back like, oh, well, how much fruit are you eating? If are you eating like a couple mangoes, 4 or 5 mangoes, 6 mangoes, or with bananas, or are you doing a big smoothie, or are you just doing like a couple cherries?
Yeah. So, or did you put that fruit smoothie into a dehydrated system?
Yeah.
And that's going to sit heavier. And I mean, and if you added water to the smoothie, maybe that would dissipate some of it. But there's so many factors to look at. You could literally have perfect health, but one thing is off, and your metabolism is going to shift because of that. Something's going to metabolically isn't going to be right.
Right. And then also David Wolf was talking about how like some people are better suited for protein metabolism and fat metabolism, just like how we were saying earlier, how Mr. Wolf, he's more of a fat burner. And I do feel like it can be tough to really figure that out, because I think you can push yourself to certain limits with certain foods and get those results. And some people get good results and some people don't. I'm definitely more on like the balance side of it. I mean, I guess balance in a sense of like, I don't just like only do carbohydrate, but I ensure that I do get enough protein, enough fat into my diet. So, and like I said earlier, AJ is definitely more on the side of getting more fat in. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, it makes it easier for me to try to maintain weight.
Right. So anyways, the last one was Doug Graham. And,
so one sec. So, he said the minerals, the even distribution of carbs, fats, and protein. What was the third one?
That it was honestly him was basically just the minerals. Basically, it was just the
yeah.
minerals. And
so these are the minerals that I use, everyone. I highly recommend minerals for people that feel as though they need it. If you feel completely fine, you don't need to improve anything. You don't feel like you're hungry all the time. You don't feel like you urinate too much. You don't feel dehydrated. Then you don't need something like this. But I would highly recommend trying a mineral supplement. This one's from Supercells. Longevity is another good one. But if you just feel like you need a little bit of that support, I highly recommend that.
I mean, I think everyone could use minerals.
Right. But some people may not see too much of a difference because their needs aren't that high. I think anyone can benefit, but some people just are doing really well.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, AJ. I got to give me some of those. That's for sure. So lastly, with the core principle, I took it in reverse here. Doug Graham, he spoke first. What he said was using nature plus the animals around us to figure out what is best for the human body. And for those of you that follow Doug Graham and his work, he's big on 80-10-10. And what was that?
No, I was just doing Doug's pinky.
Oh my gosh, is that what he does?
Well, his finger, like, it lost a tendon, so it's
wow.
So whenever he talks, it's usually like that.
Oh wow. But yeah, Doug's big on 80-10-10, and he's a big raw fooder.
Can you explain what 80-10-10 is?
Yeah, so 80-10-10 is 80% carbohydrate, 10% fat, and 10% protein. So getting most of your calories from the carbohydrate. And in his case, if you're a raw foodist, then getting most of your carbohydrate from fruit. And you could probably say that if you only eat fruits, you might get enough fat. I mean, you might have to eat like durian, maybe some other fatty fruits, but a jackfruit does jackfruit have, I'm not sure if jackfruit does any.
It's not much fat.
Yeah. But yeah, his core principles are 80-10-10. And even throughout the debate, he talks about how, even depending on your health issue, that the 80-10-10 doesn't change, but just the calories change. So it's like, oh, if you have a big health issue, like keep it 80-10-10, keep the fruit high, keep everything else the same, but just lower your calories, eat a little less.
Yeah, I think he was also saying, like, if you're of a higher weight or you're more fit or something, these ratios change, or the amount of calories change, not the ratios.
Right. So
Doug looks super fit in that.
Dude, I was
was like on point. Like I was like, okay, if I was in that kind of shape, I'd be super happy.
I was gonna say,
this motherfucker.
Doug's physique was on point.
And Brian acknowledged that too.
Yeah.
He was like, listen, you're the example of physical, like peak
performance.
Yeah, peak performance. Yeah.
Totally. It's really motivating.
I feel like that video was uploaded 2013, but I feel like it's probably from the 80s or something. I think someone said that, like it's from the 90s or the 80s.
I mean, it honestly might be, because it's pretty blurry and
because I don't remember Doug looking that fit when I found 80-10-10. Like he's in good shape. He's a gymnast, but I'm saying like that's like his physical peak that I've seen him.
Right. I mean, I have seen pictures of him recently, and I don't know how old he is. Maybe 70s, maybe.
Yeah, he's like 64.
Oh, 64. Okay.
Yeah. You know what Ronnie said? I posted a picture of Doug Graham, and Ronnie was like, that man just does not photograph well. Like he looks a lot better in person.
Hey, it happens to some of us. It happens to some of us.
It happens to all of us.
It happens to all the vegans for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, let's go to the next question. So the next question of the debate was talking about listening to your body, and it was really only discussed between Doug Graham and Brian Clement. Now, this is a tough one, because Clement, he's like sort of against the fruit. He says that only 15% of the food that you're eating should be fruit. So
by weight.
50% by weight, is fruit. So let's say,
but let me explain why that's important, because fruit, like if you said 15% by calories, that's way different than if you said by weight. It's like, that's nothing. If you're going by like, you're eating greens all day and it's like half a pound or a pound.
right. Yeah.
And you have 1 pound of fruit. 1 pound of fruit's like 200 calories or 300 calories.
Right.
It's
Well, I mean,
or 500 or whatever.
Well, even still, if you do, if you eat 10 pounds of food in a day, a pound and a half of that's a pound and a half of fruit, which is like
It's nothing.
Which is like 4 bananas.
Calories.
That's still only like 300, 400 calories.
So I'm trying to exaggerate how strict that is.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just so against the fruit, and he's not so against it, but he's just like, he's more about the sprouts and about the greens and about the chlorophyll and about the green juice. And I don't know. I find that really, really intriguing.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? In your view, why do you think he's saying?
Yeah, I mean, I guess from Clement's view, from like where Clement's coming from, he's coming from a place of healing. I don't think he's coming from a place of just like living everyday life. And obviously but he runs the Hippocrates Health Institute. So the people that he's seeing, he's probably not really seeing a lot of athletes, you could say. I mean, maybe he is, but like if you're going to his clinic, you're not going to be like doing running marathons. You're going there to try to heal your body. And he feels that the sprouts and the greens and the green juice and the wheatgrass juice and all that jazz does much better on the body than the fruit. And it seems like he's just so against the sugar, like that it doesn't even matter. Like fruit sugar, he's like, it's still sugar.
He says fruit sugar is worse than every other sugar.
Yeah.
Did you know that? He's like, fructose is the worst.
Fructose is the worst
from the fruit. Yeah.
See, that's what's crazy, because I've heard fructose being beneficial in plenty of regards.
But you've also stated like all sugar is the same. Pretty much, so
what'd you say?
It's the same. All sugar is the same. So if it's similar or the same, it's not really like too to say that it could be challenging for some people. I don't think that it is. I think processed sugar is garbage. I think it's horrible. But I think fruit's way better. I think that there's certain instances where maybe the fruit has a different impact. Maybe I don't know.
It's just
Brian Clement's whole thing that I've heard about the sugar, because I've listened to all of his lectures about sugar, and his whole thing is like a lot of these cells, like cancer cells and things, have a lot more receptor sites, insulin receptor sites. So they soak up all that sugar. It's like, of course, all your cells still run on sugar, but his thing is like, we don't want to like super nourish the cancer cell.
Mm-hmm.
That's his take.
Yeah, but that's only if you have an overgrowth of cancer, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
that was an example.
Right.
But interestingly, I haven't seen specific videos on it. He also talks about athletes coming there and like, hey, I run marathons. Can I really, eat this way? And he says we work with them on being able to eat healthy but still sustain fitness. But he doesn't go into what they do, so I don't really know the clear direction on that.
Right. Yeah, it would be interesting to really get his actual thoughts on how to get your calories and how to sustain that way of eating for the long term.
Right.
So just because like I just don't see it. I just don't see how you can really eat that. Like you got the like 20 pounds of greens or drink so much juice. I don't know. Just to get like the calorie source of fruit or grains, but yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting one. I feel like
he's one of, because me and you, we've seen a lot of different people, especially online,
right,
who, in my view, they eat decently enough calories, but they look pretty malnourished.
Yeah.
And when I met Brian Clement, I don't know exactly what he eats, but he seemed like full. He didn't seem like someone who's a typical raw vegan fruitarian.
Mm-hmm.
He had his hair and he's like 70 years old and he looked like a mafia boss. Pretty powerful looking. And he just didn't have that emaciation look.
Right. Yeah.
He had color in his face.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's eating that way and he's able to maintain his weight. Even in the interview, he has a bit of like a pot belly, like a little bit. I would say.
Yeah.
He's wearing like a white beater.
Well, see, that's the
mullet.
Well, see, that's the thing, is that if he's eating these foods that really aren't high in calories, I mean, if we want to talk about like losing weight and being in a caloric deficit, I mean, you could say that he might not even be touching 2,000 calories in a day. So like his weight should be lower, but then why isn't it lower?
Right.
You know, why does he have that pot looking belly? You know, even now,
it's funny because we were saying how Doug Graham looks so good in that video.
Yeah.
And Brian Clement really didn't look like he's in shape at all. But when I just seen him a couple months ago, he looked almost better now than he did in that video.
Right. Wow.
I don't know. You know, he doesn't.
Did he look pretty fit when in person?
Well, I mean, he didn't have like he was flat stomach and he just
right.
And he didn't look like he's doing gymnast exercises.
Right. I mean, I guess when you're
70.
Yeah. The last statement I wanted to say here was Doug Graham talked about how it takes a while to get over your bad habits. And he talked about how, like if you're listening to your body, my body wants chocolate. No, I'm just going to I'm going to go eat chocolate. Oh, my body wants McDonald's. I'm listening to my body. I'm going to go to McDonald's. And I feel like you can't listen to your body in that regard. You know, like you really got to have that discipline and actually know what your body wants. You know, does it really want the chocolate? Maybe it wants something that's in the chocolate. You know, maybe not the chocolate itself, but maybe there's something else that you can get from a different food, a healthier food that's in the chocolate. You know, maybe you are quote unquote craving sugar. Maybe you should eat a little more fruit, you know, instead of going to other types of candy or treats, you know. But I do find it like people say, I'm craving sugar, I go get a donut. But yeah, that donut's full of fat too. Yeah. So the combination of both is it could be detrimental, you know, if you're overeating calories. But
I think that the listening to your body, it's an important part of the puzzle. Like you do want to listen, but you can't only say, I'm listening, so I'm going to eat cheesesteaks every night. It's like,
yeah, right. My body wants cheesesteaks.
My body wants coffee at fucking 12 at night.
Yeah.
It's like
okay. Honestly, I think there's like, you got to have some, like you can't be ignorant to some extent, you know, like you got to have some knowledge of what to eat, you know? And I honestly, I don't think a lot of people know that. I really don't think they do, you know, and maybe
I don't really know.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I don't either. Maybe I like take it too far sometimes, but
I definitely do that.
Yeah. Anyways, so the next topic that was brought up was talking about the body producing acid. And what Doug Graham talks about, he says that a lot of us are taking on more stress than we can handle, and we're not really eliminating the acid as well. And I mean, I can even relate that to my day-to-day life and everyone's day-to-day life. I mean, we're all stressed out. We're all working too much. Some people, not everybody. But like it's just like we're here, we're there, we're here, we're there. And maybe some people just don't eliminate the acid well enough. And maybe that is why they're stressed. I mean, it could possibly be that. I mean, there could be 100 reasons why. But he talked about how undergoing stress, so sometimes you breathe more shallowly and your heart rate increases. And he says that both of these factors are slowing down your elimination ability. And I think that definitely comes back to the oxygen too. You probably have a little less oxygen coming in. And that's definitely, if you are breathing shallowly, that would definitely be a good time to just take a step back and slow down and maybe do some breath work, even if it is just for a minute, just to get in the moment and breathe.
Well, I agree with that. And I assume the major acid he's talking about is lactic acid. I forget off at the moment. But yeah, I mean, if your system is not operating at its best, it's going to have more of a challenge doing every process, especially elimination. Like I talked about in episode 2 with my story, where the environment I was in, once I was back in it, it's like I could feel my colon like clench up because of that stress. And like, think about it. If your colon's backed up, your kidneys, which filter your blood, have to pick up the
slack.
Pick up the slack. Exactly.
Yeah.
And your lungs do as well. And what if your skin isn't sweating and blah, blah, blah. Like these things all work synergistically. And the cool thing is the better that something works, it takes pressure off of all these other areas.
Right.
So if your bowels are working like so good and you're so healthy there, man, your kidneys are appreciating it, and vice versa. And they continuously help one another. Totally. And I just wanted to say that something Robert Moore said to me, or not said to me, I heard him say, which was a good reminder, because we all hear like we should breathe a certain way and all these things. So, typically I'm a shallow breather because I get pretty stressed out. And one of the things he was saying was, it's not about overly saturating yourself very quickly. He was like, if you breathe into your stomach, what that does is now that the bottom of your lungs get expanded, and now those lower lobes of the lungs get oxygen, so that everywhere else is getting deeper penetration of oxygen. So I did that. I was literally having like something happen, like some inflammation or whatever, and I just started doing that while I was driving. And within like a minute, it just like felt like it normalized. Wow. And it's like people could be like, "Well, it was just in your mind." Even if it was, I'm glad it's gone. I'm glad I feel better. So it could be in my mind or it could be in my body. As long as it's better, I'm happy.
I love your explanation sometimes. I really love it. That's awesome.
It's defeating, or it's annoying when people try to like shut down when you're getting a result.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I ate better, so I feel better. And people try to like change your mind on it. Like maybe it was this. It's like, I just told you, I just started doing something that feels really good, and you're trying to like diminish it. It's like needless. I don't understand why people do
It's ridiculous. That. Just downplaying the situation for sure. Yeah. Now this is something really interesting to me, and it's something that we see a lot of times in the raw food community. David Wolf talks about this. So, he says that if you are somebody who is chronically ill, taking lots of drugs, you grew up in fast food, which, I mean, we all basically grew up in fast food. Everyone does.
5 double cheeseburgers at a time.
Yeah. He said that we probably, I mean, I think that you're kind of, that they are kind of making assumptions here. But he said that they have suppressed acids within their tissues. I mean, you could probably say it's just from all the chemicals that come with the food, or if they're not getting the fiber and they're not hydrating well enough, they could be a bit backed up and constipated.
Yeah, just to make it clear, I would assume that Robert Morris's version, for people that know who Robert Morris is, would be the stagnant limb. He's essentially saying that in a different way.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
I would agree. Because so many people have like so many different ways of talking, and it's just like, it's like you got to pull from here, but they're all talking about the same thing, or the same body part or the same body function. So, I mean, you could even just make it so simple as saying, coming down to cellular level, just with your interview with Selina, how she just talks about how everything's based on the cells. So if your limb's backed up, your cells are probably backed up. If Wolf was saying, if your tissues are suppressed with acids, then your cells are, he's probably talking about your cells, So what he says here is that when you try to start incorporating more fruit, that a lot of these acids will start coming up and problems will arise. It's really funny he said that. I actually had an experience of this. I was actually in Toronto. I was visiting Jillian, and it was one of her friends that came over. And we're just talking about how, like, my diet and how I was eating. And I was a raw foodist at the time, doing a lot of fruit. And the guy was like, "Oh, you know what? I don't eat fruit. I can't do it because every time I eat fruit, my skin breaks out." And I'm thinking, like, Oh, well, maybe it was meant to break out. Like maybe it's not really the fruit, but maybe it's
Right.
like your body actually getting rid of the waste. And just hearing David Wolf say this was really interesting. But also too, I feel like in the community, the raw food community and detox and juicing, it's like people will go in these juice fasts, and like they'll still have like these crazy, like their skin will be flaring up and they'll like have acne and they're like, I'm healing, I'm healing, I'm healing. And I do want to not like disagree, but just kind of challenge that and just say like, okay, yeah, you might be getting rid of waste, but you also might be missing a need for your body. So even though that you are like breaking out, maybe if you had something else incorporated into your diet instead of just juicing fruits all day, maybe maybe you wouldn't be breaking out as much.
Yeah, maybe you're stressing your body out to where it's flaring that up even more.
Yeah.
Being in a state of fight or flight just because you're giving digestion a break doesn't mean you're going to result in more healing. Healing comes from when you're resting and relaxed and you're sleeping.
Yeah.
And that's when you accumulate. Like think about for people that do yoga. Why do you do yoga? Yoga is made so that you get your body in alignment, you get everything focused, you focus on what you're doing, you get your posture good, and then you meditate or you lay there in Shavasana and you absorb your training. When you go and train as a soccer player, as a football player, as a MMA fighter, and afterwards you go and you get a sauna, you get a cold shower, and then you make sure you drain your legs or you get good sleep that night. So you actually get what you got out of the training.
Right.
It's not just about the fasting. It's about meeting the body's needs, recovering in the proper way. For the people that think juice fasting is only beneficial, it's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah.
You have to admit the problems with it, but it can still be very therapeutic. It can still be very good. For those of you who have gone through the whole fasting, juice fasting thing, and you've kind of felt as though you kind of mess your system up more as a result, you don't really understand what's going on with your digestion and your hormones. A few weeks back, I did an interview with Damian, and it's called the Raw Transition Diet. He actually coaches people who have done that and they can't get back on track and they're binge eating and they're eating all kinds of garbage. He helps hold your hand and get you back to a place where you can intuitively and intelligently eat again. So I highly recommend going and checking that video out. We can put it in the link. We can put a link down below.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Easier for people, but it's really important. Like some people, it could be the best thing ever. For some people, it's not what they need at all.
Right. And I know even the guys here, they actually talk about juicing, and we'll get to that. But they're all a lot of them are big on the fiber, Yeah. Anyways, I wanted to finish up, and also AJ, thanks for sharing that. Your interview with Damian was top notch, and you guys,
it was a good one.
Really, you guys really hit the nail on the head there. What Wolf was saying was that so like people will do fruit, and the detox community is like, only do fruit, greens slow your detox down. But now Wolf even said in the video, he said the green juice can help buffer the acids, can help neutralize the body. So like maybe it is good to bring in the green juice and to eat some greens and eat some salads. Yeah, it's great to do that, and his final statement was just saying that like it could take years to really quote unquote get everything out. And I think that statement alone is a rabbit hole because like how do you know? If you feel good, I think that's a great place to start. It's like, okay, I feel good.
It's a good indicator for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, but just really, really interesting stuff right there. And
I'd like to expand when you're done.
Yeah, please go for it.
Yeah, it's just that he's saying, you're putting the fruit in, you're releasing the acids, and then you're creating all kinds of issues because it's quote unquote too fast of a detox, right? And I think that this is important because like a lot of people are coming into this way of eating and they're dehydrated on the inside. Like for people that think being hydrated on a cellular level is just woo-woo, it's like Lance Armstrong tests his hydration in May for his Tour de France in July. Like, no, testing hydration is a real clinical thing.
Right.
So if you're clinically coming in at a low point and now you're hearing, oh, water dehydrates you, so you're not drinking water. Then green juice slows your detox, so you're not drinking green juice. And all you're doing is taking in high sugary fruits, how can you process that right? It's like you're putting sugars in on dehydrated state, which means you're only going to be able to eat so much because your digestion sucks. It's so slow and weak. And you're going to ferment those sugars. And what I mean by that is you're going to have chronic urination. You're going to not absorb those sugars. So you're going to get thinner. You're going to have more malabsorption. You're going to have to eat more. You're going to have more hunger spells. You're going to have low blood sugar, high blood sugar. And if you're just coming into it unknowing, that's why these green juices are so important. That's why these salads are so important. They're still nourishing, but they're gentle. They're soothing. They're cooling. They're hydrating. If you are worried and you want to make sure it's fruit, do cucumber juice. Cucumber juice is top. It's so good. And even DTM, I talk with DTM pretty much every single week. And he's like, you know how many people come to me, they eat one piece of fruit and they feel horrible and they feel sick? He's like, I put these people on, make sure they drink green juice and get on enzymes, because when you have that, turkey sandwich from the day before sitting in your gut, and you didn't crap for 3 days, and then someone puts a piece of fruit in there,
it's gonna make
and they
it
think
worse.
the fruit is the problem, but no, it's literally like it's combining and sitting there, and it's sitting heavy. And I think everyone can pretty much agree that fruit digests really easily.
Yeah,
and it goes through your system pretty quickly, and it pulls along some things with it and to take it out of you, which is good for you. But if it's just getting blocked up and you're eating fruit and you're not going to the bathroom, like that sugar is going to either stay in your blood or it's going to have to be urinated out, which creates more stress on your system. Yeah. Chronic urination is not good.
No.
I have that. I've been through that. I've been to where I've done it for freaking 50 times a day because my system was so weak and messed up and my sugar metabolism is terrible. How many of us are living super low stress, clean oxygen, like clean air? We're going to bed every night when the sun goes down, and then we're, going swimming in the ocean. We're getting hydrated and drinking clean water, and then we're eating fruit. Then it's so easy to process fruit. You have a low stress. Your girlfriend doesn't fight with you. Your boyfriend, whatever. None of that. Like the main thing that when I was 113 pounds and I came to Dan and I had a consult with him, Life Regenerator, he's like, AJ, you live in like a toxic cesspool.
You're like
environment. Yeah. Well, not only that, not my body, but like all the stress, all the type of job, all the traffic, all the pollution. Like it's not, you have to live, if you're going to eat a tropical diet, it's almost like you got to live that way in order to fully get all the benefit.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're high stress, like super high stress, and then you're putting that, which is triggering fight or flight and creating more stress, you think it's good for you just because fruit's more natural? No, that's why MP and I think we agree. It's all about meeting the need. You meet the need, you have less stress on the body, you can make better decisions.
Right. Yeah. And we're not saying that. And we're not saying, dude, you just crushed that. And we're not saying that like fruit is bad.
No, not at all.
But there's definitely a method to the madness. There's definitely a method to a way of eating that best suits you. And even me myself, I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
And like you were saying earlier, they're eating these crappy foods and then they're eating the fruit and it's just like they feel all wonked out and they're like, why? Like I'm eating fruit. Like what the heck?
Yeah.
There's definitely a way to do that, and we can.
One other thing, because I want to let you talk, but when I was at my worst, I ate 4 bananas and then afterwards I pissed 7 times and I didn't even drink water before or anything. That's how much my system was like rejecting.
Wow.
Food. And for all the people who are like push through, these people do not know what they're talking about unless they're literally like working with someone. They're seeing what's happening. They're okay. They're checking their blood, whatever.
Yeah.
But for the people that are saying that, Dan, everyone pretty much, even in the leaders of this community, agree. You should have subtle detox. Like, okay, you have a headache on the 3rd day and then it's gone.
Right.
Not like you feel terrible for 6 months. That's a good sign. It means it's working. It's like, no, terrible advice.
I have no energy.
You should immediately feel benefit and better. And then you should slowly either feel better and have some dips. Like, I don't feel that energy. I should rest more.
Right.
Something like that. Even Durian Rider, that's what he says as well. Like people that, don't believe in detox in a sense, but he's like, you should feel better right away when you're making good choices. If you go to bed early, if you did sleep, you should feel better right away. If you're in cleaner air, you shouldn't be like, oh my God, I feel worse. It's like,
Right.
no, go freaking in the garage. No, I'm not going to say that. All right.
Love it, AJ. Love it. Love it. Is there anything else you wanted to say on this topic? Because I was gonna
I'm good,
go.
yeah.
Okay, great. I was gonna go to the next subject here, the next question that was asked, and all three of them were asked, what is the difference between the terminally and seriously ill versus someone who's in reasonable health versus a peak performer athlete? And now the difference in what though? The difference in like how to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And Clement said that it's really all based on your blood chemistry, your psychology, and your activity levels. And he didn't really go into too much detail, but I can definitely agree with that. I think the activity level is really the top notch one there. It's like if you're sitting around all day doing nothing, it might not, like, what's the best way to eat if you do that? We can get to that later, but they do talk about how, like, if you are doing that and you're just like eating fruit all day and you're not actually going out and moving your body, then that's just like sitting in there and it's just like kind of building up, you know?
Yeah, it's not being burned.
Yeah, you're not actually using the fuel. Right. So, Doug Graham, what he says, he talks about like the people who are ill. He says people who have like no teeth, they don't digest well, they don't absorb well, they don't have a colon. Someone who can't follow like a simple way of eating. He says that his program for all these kind of clients is all very similar. And it was like I was saying earlier, how it's still 80-10-10. It's still high fruit, but it's just like you just adjust the calories. That's it. You adjust the calories. Simple as that. He keeps it pretty easy.
Even I'm sure adjusting the way it's consumed. So it's like he said, someone without teeth, maybe they'll make applesauce instead of eating an apple.
Yeah.
Something like that, which is still the same ratio of calories and macronutrients, but it's just change. You know, everyone acts like we're all the same and everyone's needs are so freaking different.
Yeah.
So I mean, generally our needs are the same, but to address certain problems, it's very, very specific.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, like anatomically and we are the same. All humans, you know, we all have a kidney, or maybe, I mean, we might not all have a kidney, but like, I mean, I guess like some people have the colon taken out, you know, like everyone's need is different for sure.
Like there's certain, I just want to be clear. There's certain things that generally, yes, we all need to sleep. We all, you know, need nourishment and we all need connection and all these things. Right. But what I'm saying is people are trying to fit like a blueprint on someone without ever having looked at them.
Right.
So if you're like, hey, you're going to go on a fruit diet, but you know, they have the worst results ever, then just because of an ideology, that doesn't make any sense. Same thing with a carnivore diet or a vegan diet. It's like literally looking and finding out what's going on so that the problem can be addressed versus just guessworking like, well, God told me or whatever. Like no diss at the God people at all.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, there needs to be more accountability in the way that we talk in a public setting. Because a lot of people are so confused. They think like, you know, I'm pushing through or what we've discussed earlier, or like I need tons of protein, or protein's the worst thing ever. Protein will destroy your kidneys no matter what. So don't take it. And it's like when I was doing the whole fruit detox thing, I had low bun levels and it shows that my kidneys were starving of amino acids, which only happens in third world countries. So it's like, for all the people that are like, I would have benefited from some pure.
So protein is important.
Yeah, because it's just about the need. Now, you and I talk about this because we'll get really into the debate about calories and all these things.
Yeah.
And it's like, we talked about if we took someone who was older and very overweight, if we put them on like a green juice, cucumber juice, and salad diet for like a month or two, they probably would function amazing and better, and they wouldn't get malnourished. Like there's something about, I think, one, the younger generation, but two, just being at a normal weight or underweight, that if you do these things, it's more problematic. But if you have weight to burn, it's like people I feel like can sustain that easily.
Right. So if you have weight to burn and you are eating in a quote unquote caloric deficit, then you can eat it might be even better to eat more of a diet that's like more greens and more vegetables and more fat based. So
You're not going to have like these depletion issues is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Like you would on a high fruit diet. Yeah,
Maybe.
totally.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No, yeah, that was great. That was great. Now, David Wolf, what he said to this question, and I'll repeat the question. I said it about 15 minutes ago. It feels like this topic here. We're talking about the difference between the terminally ill versus someone who's in reasonable health versus like a peak performance athlete, and the difference in what to eat. And Wolf says that he would send him over to David, or he would send him to Clement to to attain better blood chemistry like right away. Mm-hmm. He said like he'd get someone into a good lifestyle, and this might be a bit controversial, but he said no fruit juice for someone who is critically ill. So David Graham,
I want you to share your honest thoughts on that. Like, tell me what you think. No political correctness, none of that, none of this. Everyone's different. Just tell me what you really think. It's okay to have your
so what do I really think with that?
Like, are you thinking like, oh my God, this guy's saying organic watermelon juice is the problem? Like, it's not the problem. Like,
right.
That comes to mind.
So he says no fruit juice for someone who is critically ill. I disagree with that. If I'm being 100% honest, just because like when I think of sugar, I honestly think of like electricity. I think of like boom, sugar, like let's go. Now
ATP.
Now, right. If you are somebody who is ill and sick, I'm questioning like what were you eating and have you done to get to that point? And depending on that, it's going to really determine on whether you should drink fruit juice or not. And we're not talking about like you get a Walmart and it's fruit juice concentrated with citric acid and vitamin whatever and red 40 and you know what I mean? Like we're talking about legitimately fresh pressed juice, the apple, the pineapple, the watermelon, the orange. I just believe that can provide so much for somebody. And in certain cases though, it might not be beneficial. I will say, I know this is just a comment that I saw on a YouTube page. But it was Lane Norton, and pretty good guy, big into science, big into like evidence-based stuff. And he talks about sugar and if it was like sugar being bad. And somebody like the first comment on the YouTube video was like, sugar saved my life. Like I was in the hospital. Right. I was crazy. I was sick and all I was eating was like slushies or something from 7-Eleven or something like that. And she's still alive today. So, I mean, I'm not like saying, oh my gosh, like go get a slushie. It's going to save you. That's not what I'm saying. And I think even with something like that, you take it to a grain of salt. Or are they telling the truth? I don't know. I mean, I don't think someone would just make something like that unique up. Yeah. But I personally do think that even if you are chronically ill, that fruit juice can help. And not like overdoing it and not going crazy on it. And if you do need to add water to it, cool, for sure. I think you can. But now I do believe that the green juice might be a little more beneficial just because it's just the difference in what you're getting with the juice, you know? And with the green juices, there's just, honestly, you could say that you're just getting so much more nutrition. You're getting the vitamins and you're getting the minerals. I know like this, I don't even think fruit has any K2 at all. And you got to get like your vitamin K from like greens. So juicing that would be good. I think just if it might be easier for your body to get that. So that's also another thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but yeah, so did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. I agree. And I feel as though that woman, that was her need. Like she needed that sucrose or that glucose or that fructose.
Right.
And that helped her and that saved her.
Right.
And even like, because now I talk a lot of shit on sugar, and I actually want to give it some love. Because like one of the, like when I first got into veganism, I was watching Durian Rider and I started doing like fruit, or Mike Arnstein. I started eating fruit. I'm like, oh my God, I feel calm. I feel energized. My bowels work great. I feel great. But then at the end of the day, I would eat like pizza and chicken. Eventually found Durian Rider. I'm eating all the banana smoothies and I'm feeling amazing, feeling level-headed, calm. And, over time, I started to get some issues because, dating, you go out to eat, you do stay up late, all this stuff. So I started getting really bad inflammation in my wrist, like really bad, to where I definitely couldn't do a push-up, but it was just radiating. Like I'd be like this, like, oh my God, so painful.
Oh.
And I would notice, not because anyone told me to detox, but I would notice that when I would eat, it would get way worse. So like I'd eat rice. Oh my God, it's getting way worse, whatever. So at the time, I'm Ralto 4 pretty much. And I go and I'm drinking the Aquapana, and then I go and I get some Lakewood juices. I get the pineapple, which is my favorite, and I get the mango. And I'm drinking a pineapple. I'm having the Aquapana, pineapple, and then 2 of the mango. So I'm like, all right, I'm already like of the mindset of calories. I'm like, I got to get at least 2,000. I know it's not ideal, but that way I'm not starving, whatever. So I do that for 3 days. On the 3rd day, I don't even, like I said, I don't know nothing about detox, nothing about mucoid plaque, any of that crap. I wake up on the 3rd day, I take this like weird crap. Like it's super heavy, super dark, weird. I have so much energy. I'm like driving, I'm like, I have to pull over and like start running. So like I pull up to my mom's and I just run as fast as I can, 2 miles. I'm sweating. I'm like, I just have so much energy. It's crazy. And then I went back to eating food, and it took a while before I started to lose that energy again. But I just saw like that sugar, fueling me and like cleaning me and nourishing me in a way that I really needed at the time. So I feel like you have to take it where you're at.
So
people don't even know where to start. Find someone who you think you're confident in that you can ask for advice or help or direction.
Doesn't Jeff Juices, doesn't he do like a lot of fruit juice? Isn't he all about the fruit juice?
He only does fruit juice.
Yeah, so he's like,
no, he probably does some green juice.
Yeah, I mean he's like, screw you, David Wolf. But I think that like, I think the fruit juice, the fresh pressed fruit juice, can get you to a certain point, and it doesn't mean that like, oh, you have to drink, you got to drink the fruit juice the rest of your life. It's like, okay, you can do a good bit, but then like you slowly wean off it, and then you slowly wean back onto eating more whole foods,
Or it can even be vice versa. You can work your way up to doing the juice again.
Yeah.
Like if you suck on green juice, if you suck on fruit juice, doesn't mean you're always going to suck on it.
Right.
It just means, whether it's your pancreas, your adrenals, or your fat, the fat in your bloodstream. Like if you address the thing at hand, then you can go back to having it.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of more saying like, oh, if someone's ill, if someone's chronically ill, like, what are they doing? Oh, well, they're doing a lot of fruit juice, but then, okay, they do a lot of fruit juice. Then after they get better, if they do get better, then they can slowly wean off the fruit juice and start bringing it. That's what I was kind of saying there. But I see what you're saying though, where it's like, oh, like if you want to drink more fruit juice, start slow, like let your body get acclimated to it, and then you can have more later. I totally get that.
On one of Dan's protocols, he says that like if you just aren't doing well with the sugar, he recommends you do this green juice type of protocol, and then after a little while, then include the fruit juices, because then not only does it taste good, not only do you get the benefits, but you can actually feel good doing it versus like forcing yourself to try to feel good on it.
Right.
If you give yourself a little bit of that break, then you can really take it back and enjoy it.
Totally.
It's great.
Awesome. Great stuff. I
want to say one thing just because I mentioned it to you the other day.
Yeah.
I eat predominantly raw food diet, living food diet. And when I had a Chipotle burrito the other day, and I test my blood sugar periodically just to see, because I'm curious. I don't have usually blood sugar issues.
What do you use to test?
Like you prick the finger and you check the blood. It's like a little glucose monitor. And anything between like 80 and like 110 is pretty good. And I can have like a bunch of bananas, check it, I'm at like 95. So mine is generally really good, which is weird because it doesn't make me feel that good necessarily. But when I had the burrito and then I went to the movies, so 2 hours went by, and I just felt like I felt terrible. And I'd eaten cooked food for a few days at that point. And then like I came back, took a nap for 2 hours because I felt like exhausted from it. And then I checked my blood sugar. It was like 150 or 140. And I was just like, it's so weird because they're all complex carbs. So you would think it's a gentler like blood sugar spike.
Yeah.
But here I am eating like watermelon and grapes, the highest glycemic stuff, bananas. And it's like perfect. I don't think it was just the avocado. I don't really know exactly.
Right. Well, did you get any of the tofu or no?
No.
Yeah.
It was just like rice and beans and tomatoes and stuff.
Yeah, that's I know they use rice bran oil in their wraps, and I think they use rice bran oil in the rice too. So I don't know if that could have had an effect on the blood sugar.
Have people like McDougall who say like 1 drop of oil can inhibit blood flow to the penis for like 6 hours. I'm like, how is that even possible? It's so like over the top. And then people are so terrified of oil.
Right.
And that's what I think. I think the people who are really like overweight, obese, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, that's the perfect message for them. But for like normal people, they hear that, they're really afraid of it, and then they'll never eat it, and then they're like starving to death. It's just like this. That's why the clear communication is so important. That's why I'm trying to say like you specifically might be completely different in what you need at the moment. Because if I have cooked oil, I feel the inflammation everywhere.
Wow.
I don't think it's bad necessarily to have some oil, but if I have olive oil like that Papa Vince, I pour like a cup of that on a salad and I feel normal and fine.
Oh my God.
But if you give me a little bit of canola oil, I'm like, my eyes are red, I'm inflamed everywhere.
That's crazy.
And so here's some of the things that all diet camps agree on. It's like high heated oils suck generally.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to the 80%ers, not like the 10%ers or 1%ers. Generally, people agree adding sugar to things suck. Generally, people agree that you should drink pure water. So like these commonalities we can all agree on, but the implications or the what am I looking for? The way that we include these things can vary.
Totally.
That's it, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So AJ, I'm not sure what our time is here. I think we've been talking for.
It's been about 45 minutes.
Yeah, about 45. Let's I think we're gonna have to split this up in 2 episodes if that's cool with you, because
we could do that.
How
many more we got?
There's still I have like 6 pages still of notes.
Nice. Why don't we go for 50 or why don't we go for like 10 more and then we'll close it up?
Yeah, let's do this last topic here. And actually it'll work out nicely. The last topic is about juicing. Well, not the last topic. The last topic we will talk about today is juicing. So works out pretty well. Pretty good transition there.
Excuse me.
So Doug Graham, he is against juicing. He would not use juicing in a healthy lifestyle. He says he does not want to get rid of the fiber. He says it's like you're basically refining and you're concentrating your nutrition, which is he's like totally against that. He talks about how like the juice is consumed very rapidly. He also talks about how you can juice 10 pounds of carrots, but you would never sit there and eat 10 pounds of carrots. It'd probably take you an entire day to do that. And I don't know who would ever want to do that.
That would sit like a brick.
And then he also talked about how people who were diabetic, that they were taking out like guar gum and pectin from the fruit, and they were like giving it to diabetics, and they were helping the diabetics, whereas they were just like kind of giving the fruit. The fruit has the guar gum, which I didn't even know it had guar gum, and the fruit has the pectin. And then he kind of ended it off with like, he says everyone is sick. We're all sick. It just depends on your level of sickness. And I don't know where exactly in this debate that he said it, but I actually do remember him saying like everyone's sick. Even people who are like super fit, they're sick, but they're just incredibly fit. and I'm like, okay, I mean, come on. And how do you determine if you're sick or not that's a different story. But anyways, the one thing that he said in here, the one statement that he made, talking about the juice being consumed incredibly rapidly, that one really that one gets me a little bit. It confuses me. That doesn't confuse me because I get that it's consumed rapidly, but how bad is the question, and I guess, is it bad to an extent where like, okay, it comes in so fast and your blood sugar goes crazy. I guess it's all based on blood sugar and it could just wonk it out, but yeah. So anyways, Doug Graham is not for juicing, essentially.
Yeah, I think that I don't think it's just the blood sugar, because like I said, I can have great blood sugar, but I don't feel right doing a lot of sugar. I think that there's just so many things going on. It's like, okay, do you want the enzymes in your mouth to mix with the juice? Everyone says to do that, but no one does it because it's a pain in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's so many little things going on that we may not even notice. We may not even we don't notice we're releasing 10% more insulin than we would have if we took our time.
Right.
So maybe we're storing more fat as a result, not because of the sugar, but because our insulin's higher, and insulin's a fat storing hormone. So I think that it's such like a small problem. It's kind of like being really worried about, you're really worried about going to bed late, but when you go to bed, you only sleep for an hour. It's like, well, even if you go to bed later, just sleep more. You know what I mean? Like it's like focusing on 1% of the problem or 10% of the problem versus like the main problem. Right. That's how I see it. Yeah. It's funny because Doug Graham says like he's against the juicing because it's a refined food. And then I know some of the other guys, David Wolf and Brian Clement, they say it's like therapeutic. Some people can't handle all the fiber. Right. Doug Graham is like, well, just chew the celery and spit out the fiber. It's like, well, just juice the friggin' celery. Who gives a crap at that point? The heck? It takes forever to chew celery. It's annoying.
It's like we have these tools nowadays. Like, why not use them to our advantage?
Yeah, it's like the people that think sleeping in a bed is like horrible for you, or like, okay,
well, yeah, totally.
Don't use a bed then, but don't say that no one should use a bed. It's ridiculous.
Right. Now Clement, he says that if you do fruit juice, it's best to do 90% water and 10% fruit juice. And I'm like scratching my head here because I'll just chug like pasteurized pineapple juice from Trader Joe's. It's 100% juice.
Nice.
So I mean, I wouldn't chug it. You know what I mean? I'll put it down pretty easily though. So
it's hard not to.
Yeah, cooked sugar got me there. Maybe it does. Maybe it does get me. Maybe it does get me. Maybe I'm owning up to it. No, I mean, I could go without it. I don't know. Anyways, so Clement said that green drinks and green juices should be mandatory for everybody. He said everyone should be on the green juice.
Oh, no, not mandatory people. Mandatory people.
He says that you should be super dosing your body with those minerals in the green juice. He just says that, like, remember earlier how I talked about how his three elements or his three core principles of the body, like the oxygen, the enzymes, the hormones. He says that like the green juice basically has all three of that in one. So it's like a rocket power punch, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. I like his nutritional recommendations in general.
Yeah.
It's just a little complicated to do on a daily basis.
Totally.
I mean, for those of you interested, I can leave the video down below. I'll send it to NP to put up there, or I can put it in there. But like generally, I know if you go to Hippocrates or you follow what he recommends, it's like you do wheatgrass, which can be a pain in that. It can be a pain to do. It's either like you got to buy it or grow it, and then it's kind of painful to juice. But it's good for you. I had it there. It was amazing. It was so good. It was tasting like a latte. Then it's like the green juices. I do those, but they recommend like the cucumber, celery, and lots of sprouts in it. And it's like that stuff can get expensive.
Yeah.
So again, I'm all for it It's just logistically, financially, it could be a problem.
Right.
I don't know why I'm holding this thing. But and then eating the sprouts. It's like, I love sprouts. They're so good. But if you're not growing them and you buy a little thing of organic sprouts, it's like $4.
Yeah.
And I could eat, buckets of them. So I like it. It's just, it's tough to do.
So is there
like, I love eating a fruit diet when I go to Woodstock because it's prepped for you. You can pick out all the good stuff because it's laid out. Like, okay, yeah, that mango is not good. Oh, this one's good. Okay. So it's really easy because it's prepped, it's bought, it's all there. It's so easy. And then I feel that way. Like if you go to Hippocrates, it's like, this is great. It's delicious. It's so easy.
Right.
Then you go home. It's not easy.
No,
no one's eating that
dude,
way.
It's a grind every day to eat healthy. It's an everyday grind. It's not easy to go to the store 3 times a week and make sure that you have ripe fruit and make sure that
people could pick out good produce, I would just use like the apps where people pick out your groceries and bring it to you. I never want to go shopping again. I can't stand it.
Yeah, so they just don't care.
They
don't care. They'll pick whatever they want. Well, is there another option though? Like maybe doing the daily green boost, or doing the powder, like
Purium
that Marcus,
or something.
Yeah, Purium or what's the Marcus Roscrans?
It's like a greens powder. I forget.
Yeah, his powder formula or like Vitamineral. Like, is that a good replacement for doing the green juice? And I mean, honestly, I would say yes, especially if you do have pretty clean water. Right. And I know those products highly recommended by a lot of people. And
I've used all of them except Marcus's.
Yeah. Now,
and I would say that there's nothing like a fresh juice. It's just different. It's not that it's better.
Right.
But the convenience of these products like Purium, the Power Shake, I think it tastes delicious. It feels really good. You've tried it. It's so good. And it's full of nutrition and whatever. But
unbelievable.
It's expensive.
Yeah, it's really
so
expensive.
So you're sacrificing the finances for the convenience.
Right.
My ideal is like find the woman of my dreams, and I'm doing so well, I'm making all this money, and I'm so motivated, and blah 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 blah. And she can do whatever she wants. This isn't to put her in this kind of box, but she loves to just happen to make me green juice and shop for me. And I'm just like, I would be so happy with that. I'm like, yes. Okay. Hope I don't offend anyone out there.
Go. No, that was you said it very politely, AJ. And
okay.
And we get what you mean. We get what you mean. I get what you mean.
We get each other.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, so now I feel obviously there's definitely a difference between doing a freshly pressed green juice lemon ginger blast than adding
could be better.
Yeah, right. Then like adding daily green boost or any of those powders to some kind of clean water, whatever water you prefer. There's definitely going to be a difference, but I do think that like you can see pretty similar benefits from the green powders compared to getting the fresh green juice. Yeah. I mean, obviously,
I think
obviously I'm going to err to the side of, I'm going to work towards the side of the green juice. And there's also another option, 7-Eleven. They have they have the green juice there. Yep. You can just go buy a case. I need to do that when I get back.
So I've been drinking those recently again, and it's the same ingredients. They have a new top on the top, like a new lid, and they don't have that plastic piece around it. So that's awesome because I hate that fucking thing.
Oh, wow. Nice.
But when you drink it, I don't know if I just got lucky or what's going on, but I feel as though it's different. It tastes better. And I feel as though people were complaining about the grittiness at the bottom, like the fiber.
Yeah.
And it's really smooth now. And like the one I had yesterday was like super minty, and it just was so refreshing.
Oh, wow.
And for those of you wondering, these are organic glass bottle green juice, 14 ounces for $2.50. It's what got me out of the hospital 3 years ago because I didn't have the energy to make fresh juice.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never say that it's better than a fresh organic lemon ginger blast.
Right.
But for what it is, it's amazing.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
And like you can even tell like how clear my skin is when I'm doing the green juice. It's just so because you're hydrated.
Yeah.
Even people that just start drinking water, their skin just immediately gets so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And I point it out to you all the time, but I even get more of like a tan the more green juice I drink.
Wow.
And I don't know if that's blood flow or what, but I remember I came down to Tennessee last year. It was wintertime. And Cody, I took my shirt off because I was about to work out or something. And he was like, he was like, why are you tan? I'm like, I think it's just the green juice. I had like, my whole body was just colored. Like it wasn't pasty and white and pale.
Right.
And I wanted to show you guys here the difference. This is the difference between me eating fruit and doing green juice. Like this is me doing mostly fruit. And then this is me doing green juice and fat and herbs. Look how swollen my face is. It's like a pumpkin.
So for the people who aren't watching the video and they're just listening, AJ is putting up a picture.
I guess you're going to lose out.
AJ, I do believe that you are going to put a picture up on Instagram of that.
Yeah, but just MP, what do you think? Like, look at
the
shape of my face.
It's honestly just miraculous that you can change that much. And
it's two different people.
It's like, there's no difference either, dude. Like you're a completely different person.
But what's funny is I have a photo as well from the day before of the one where I look better.
Yeah.
And I'm pale. I'm super pale. And then I literally that day start doing the Supercells and the lemon ginger blast consistently. I immediately have all this color in my face.
Wow. It's awesome.
And Dan McDonald, the guy who got me on the green juice, he will always say people come to him so pasty. He calls them the pasty vegans. And he says he puts them on green juice and he's like, it bring the life back to their face.
Good.
So for those of you who are like wanting more color in your face, I highly recommend trying a fresh green juice. I don't get that from the store-bought stuff.
Nice.
I think it's the ginger too. The ginger really helping with the circulation.
That ginger's powerful. Yeah.
Okay,
anyways,
enough. So.
Yeah. Let's move on to what David Wolf said about juicing, and it's really, really powerful stuff here. He said, this actually might have been my favorite, what he said, and just loved it. He said, juicing is a supplement, but it does not replace food. He says that he was doing like a 4-ounce spinach or parsley juice, and he would feel like super spacey. I'd probably feel like that high feeling, and now he says that he can do like, well, now being back in 1990, whenever this video was, right. I'm sure it's probably pretty similar now, pretty similar now. But just saying that how he can do like 64 ounces of a green juice and not have any reaction whatsoever. And he says, because his body has learned to store the minerals. And, I don't really, I'm trying to like wrap my head around that, because I guess your body does have a way to store, but in this video, even Doug Graham was saying that like, if your body needs, there was an example, if your body needs 10 units of iron and you give your body 100 units of iron, it's only going to get maybe 11. It's not going to it's going to like get rid of the rest. So that's why like his idea of storing the minerals here is somewhat confusing to me, and I don't understand it as well. But maybe your body stores minerals differently than it would store vitamins. I'm not really sure.
I mean, maybe it's similar to like salt. So let's say you've been eating a low salt diet for a while, and your body's actually wishes it had the salt. So all of a sudden you have these salt cravings and you eat, it stores it all. Like maybe it's because it can't process it, but maybe also because it wanted it. Maybe, right. And maybe it's something along the lines with the minerals as well. Like for the people that really need it, that kind of soaks it up. Yeah, that could be it. It's a good explanation. So this right here, what David Wolf said is really, really something else. So he said that he is a big believer of strong digestion. And I know AJ, I know you are too, and I am too. And having strong digestion it's imperative. He said that he could eat macadamia nuts with watermelon and he would have no reactions or have no issues at all. And now reactions, what does that mean? Like, does he mean, he doesn't get bloated? That definitely would be a reaction. Another reaction, I'm not sure, like maybe if there's like a skin issue, or if there's like your stomach hurts, or maybe you fart a lot. If you do that, I'm sure like those would be reactions of
bad digestion. But what he said on top of that, what he says that he believes this is a result of him taking in an excess amount of alkaline minerals, having them in reserve, as well as the enzymes. And he says when you have all of this, your body's going to be able to digest anything. So I thought that was
yeah, I like that a lot.
and he basically ended it with saying that green juice is great for building alkalinity in the body, and that comes back to the acids that we were talking about earlier. And I sort of believe in that acid alkaline balance. It's almost like, but people say like, oh, well, if your blood pH goes below 7 point whatever it is, then like you're dead. So like your blood pH is always going to remain pretty even, if I'm not mistaken. But I guess some people are more acidic than other people, and maybe that is the cellular. Maybe it is about the cells and the tissues. Maybe that's like where they are acidic. So I'm sure getting that alkalinity into the body and into the cells actually will make a big difference. So, AJ, I'm not sure if you have anything to add, but
I agree.
Yeah, awesome. So it's definitely cool to hear him talk about the green juice, and I have no desire at all to go make green juice. So like I might get a 7-Eleven and get a bunch of those. And
I have some veggies to juice downstairs, but I also have some 7-Elevens to drink.
Nice. It's
I'm
great.
gonna do both. I just got some Pure protein. Solid.
Now there's still a little bit more here about the juicing. We'll probably take about maybe 10 more minutes and then we'll wrap it up. So what's his name? Zach Levine, the guy who's running this debate. He said that the organs and systems in our body are nourished through use. The kidney gains its own nourishment through its own function, etc. It's like your digestive system gains its own function by putting food in and digesting the food, and there forth. Now the question is, does juicing make our body rely on a high up in our digestive system absorption, and we are bypassing some of the digestive system, thereby in a certain sense allowing the organs to lie a little dormant? And I feel like this kind of goes back to like what I was saying earlier about questioning how your body absorbs the juice so rapidly, and that could create issues. Now, Doug Graham says, when we juice, we eliminate the need for mechanical digestion. Mechanical digestion is done primarily through the teeth and some of the muscular action of the intestinal tract and stomach. So basically like chewing your food and digesting your food. And he says that it's best, well, actually, I don't think he said this, but what I see this is like, if you do drink juice, it's best to actually chew your juice to make your body think that you have something coming in. And I even hear Durian Rider and Freely talk about this in some of their old videos of them just saying like, oh, like your digestion might become weaker, might become weaker because your muscles aren't contracting and the digestion is not working, similar to like what that guy was saying. So you're losing that function and you're losing that strength in the digestion. And you hear, I mean, happened with me. I was bloated for like 3 months after my juice fast. And you hear a lot of time with a lot of people that they're bloated for so long after doing a juice fast. But you do have the occasional story where someone's like, oh my gosh, like I clean myself out and now my digestion's great and it worked out awesome. So Kate, like that's cool. But I feel for a majority of the time that people, they do lose that function if they're just only juicing. So I thought that was really informative of Graham to say, and I really appreciate him saying that. So now he finished off by saying a tiny bit of nutrients can be absorbed under the tongue, whether you are juicing or chewing your food. He says that most of the absorption happens in the small intestine, not in the stomach. He says the only substance that can be absorbed by the stomach is alcohol. Yeah. So that was his response. He actually, pardon pardon me, he actually still has more to say. He says, yes, we do give certain organs a rest, but we are asking other organs to work harder at an accumulated rate, which this is legit this is what you say on like a daily basis, you know? So what you were saying earlier, it's like, oh, well, the colon's so tight. Now you're putting more pressure on the kidneys and other parts of the body. So now this is like the other side of it where it's like, yes, you are giving your body a quote unquote rest, but other organs and other body parts are working harder to process that juice, you know? So so it's like, it's a give and take battle, you know? It's like, which
it's an art. What they always say, it's an art.
It's an art. So Doug Graham, he said, he said that we have to overcome the idea of more is better. And I didn't really understand what he meant by this. Let's just put that to the side.
I think he meant like the nutrient concentration.
Okay.
I think that's what he meant.
Okay. And then actually, he goes in and talks about the example that I gave earlier about the iron and how if you give your body 1,000 units of iron, if it only needs 10, what's going to happen? So I thought he did a great job of explaining that. He also did say that what you're doing when you are juicing a lot is that you're training your body to take in a concentrated amount of nutrients and to not, well, maybe this isn't about juicing. Maybe that's about the iron, because he said what you're training your body to do by taking in concentrated amounts of nutrients is not to absorb the nutrients. And that actually might be in regard to like taking a supplement or by taking an iron supplement. That's probably what it was. So sorry for the confusion there. Now, lastly, this will be the last statement. This is from Clement. He says the body does not, from a pre-digestive nutrient, lose its ability to develop the use or the ability to digest nutrients, which is like a really confusing statement. And I had to like listen to it 5 times because I didn't really make sense. So he says the body does not, from a pre-digested nutrient, lose its ability to develop the use or the ability to digest nutrients. He says that it actually enhances it. And this actually goes into how we were talking about there is a method to the madness of eating. And he says that it is best to drink a juice before a raw salad, before then eating a cooked food. And he says, why? Because it enhances the digestibility of the next food. He says the more enzymes you have, the more you spark the body. And I think it makes so much sense. It really does. It's like if your body needs the enzymes to digest the food, why not give it more enzymes to help digest the food? So if you do give your body the green juice, even if you do give your body the fruits or the greens, that's going to help you digest the foods that are harder to digest even better. And it goes back to David Wolf's point, talking about how, he was drinking all these green juices and he was able to digest macadamia nuts and watermelon, which is like crazy. So I definitely think like it doesn't have to be that every single day. Oh my gosh, I had to drink my green juice to eat my salad, to eat my cooked food. No, like it doesn't have to do that. But even in myself, in my daily life, I do like eating a salad with my brown rice and with my potatoes, even though like sometimes I'll just do a mono meal of potatoes, but I do like doing that just to help with the digestion process. So I talked a lot there.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, but all really, really great stuff from Graham, Clement, and Wolf. And I learned a lot just from that debate. And honestly, my biggest takeaway from that is drink green juice. Simple enough. If you wanted any takeaway from the first half of the video is to drink green juice. And to enjoy it and to love it and to not be afraid of it.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's afraid of it.
No, yeah. But also,
I guess some people are.
Yeah.
The detoxers.
But the enzymes too. I think like the enzymes is next level. That's definitely something that
I don't think there's
really
anyone on any diet plan unless they're trying to stay in ketosis, because I know it's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
It's too extreme. But I feel as though there's pretty much 95% of people, would greatly benefit from a fresh green juice and from enzymes. Like there's 100%. No one on any kind of like low fat, high carb, any of this, vegan, not vegan.
Right.
You'll still benefit.
Right.
You're getting hydration. You're getting better everything.
So, right. I agree. AJ.
I think that the enzymes are so underrated. I think that minerals are underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Water is underrated. Green juice underrated.
Totally. I'm with you there. Totally agree.
Cool.
AJ, do you have any more final thoughts?
I think that was an amazing episode.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do a part 2 to answer the rest of.
We will do a part 2.
Cool.
And I think for the most part, we definitely agree with most of what they have to say. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it is based off of your goals in your life. So if you are sick, maybe you do need to lower the calories a little more and give your body a rest and do more salads and green juice.
Or maybe you're sick and you need to up your calories.
Yeah. or that.
Yeah.
Definitely depends. For me in my life, I'm all about being athletic and about moving my body and biking. And I'm going to start running. My goal is to do once a week for a very long time. And to this day, I still have done 100 push-ups and 100 bodyweight squats every day. So I'm still on the grind train there. But yeah, so the way I eat is more towards and more geared towards someone who is going for athletic performance. But I get my salads in, I get my fats in. I do a big there, So, but hey, I'm learning every day, and it's been a nice process. So
beautiful.
Yeah. Cool.
Anything in closing, MP?
I think that's it.
Cool.
Great job.
I'm just going to say that I threw out a few times the Supercells. Mm-hmm. I actually work with the company. Love it. Super awesome. Minerals, oxygen, hydrogen. I just had an interview with the owner of the company last week on our YouTube channel, Selina. She's nice, super informative, intelligent, full of empathy, compassion, integrity. I love her. We're going to put a link down below for the Supercells. Check it out, read about it, get one thing, try it. When I started using the hydrogen and I used it the right way, I started immediately getting better sleep. So many people struggle with sleep issues. This is a game changer. I don't say this because I'm trying to make money off you. Of course, I want to make money, but it's really because I stand behind it 100%. It's amazing. Give it a try if you need to lower inflammation, if you feel like you need more energy, or just need to process better. Anything, your food, your emotions, whatever. These things are here to support cellular integrity. And I think that if Brian Clement and David Wolf, not Doug Graham, he's against if they knew about this before the interview, I'm sure they would have talked about it, because these things are very beneficial. I know Brian Clement actually uses oxygen therapies with people.
Wow.
He doesn't use this company specifically, but
that's great.
I know he's for it. So
awesome.
Check it out.
Cool. Good stuff, AJ.
Maybe you could also put the link for me in the interview with me and Selina down below as well.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll put the Damian link and I'll put the Supercells link for sure. Love it. Awesome. Great stuff. Well, it's your boy Brew, and stay up, be great. Always keep it HUNNIT, baby.
Stay hungry.
Props.